All right, Sawu. Bona, that's Wawu, that's Wawu. All right, beautiful people. Okay, here we go. YouTube is online now. All right, happy Sunday, everybody. Happy Sunday. Hope everybody enjoyed their day yesterday. We are going to get right to it. Guess what? I'm on the last little square of my notebook. Every single page is filled out for the whole last year. Start my new folder, my new notebook tomorrow. Nice and clean. All right, beautiful people. Happy Sunday, happy Sunday. Betwabu, Sawu, Bona. All right, y'all. It is January the 3rd, 2021, and we are on day 41 of year 3 of reading through the books of the Law and the Prophets. Another 3-year consecutive day count, day 710. Okay, y'all. Today we are reading Enoch 99. Oh, it's possible we could finish Enoch today. Come on, let me see. Let me just double check the chapters real quick. Let's double check these chapters. Let's see how long they are. I know 105 is kind of. I feel kind of sad that we're ending Enoch. Oh, man. Okay, we won't finish it today. I'll just read. Okay, that one. Okay, we'll read up to 102 and we'll save the last 3 for tomorrow. And it'll be the last day of Enoch. Like, I really feel some kind of way that we're about to finish the Book of Enoch, y'all. I'm glad that we got through it. Put my pen. I'm glad we got through it. Oh man, what? Oh, okay. 102. Okay, y'all. All right, so let's go ahead and start with the reading. All right, Enoch chapter 99. In those days, fathers shall be struck down with their children in the presence of each other, and brethren with their brethren shall fall dead, until a river shall flow from their blood. For a man shall not restrain his hand from his children, nor from his children's children. For a man shall not restrain his hand from his children, nor his children's children. His mercy will be to kill them. Nor shall the sinner restrain his hand from his honored brother. From the dawn of day to the setting sun shall the slaughter continue. The horse shall wade up to his breast, and the chariot shall sink to its axle in the blood of sinners. Enoch chapter 100. In those days, the angels shall descend into the places of concealment and gather together in one spot all that have assisted in crime. In that day shall El Elyon rise up to execute great judgment upon all sinners, and to commit the guardianship of all the righteous and the holy to the holy angels, that they may protect them as the apple of an eye, until every evil and every crime be annihilated. May we be counted worthy to be as the apple of his eye, and among those righteous that Yahuwah shall entrust to the safety of the angels. Ah, Trina, yeah. Oh man, thank you. We're gonna go right to it right when I'm done. Oh man. Whether or not the righteous sleep securely, wise men shall then truly perceive, and the sons of the earth shall understand every word of that suffer, knowing that their riches cannot save them in the ruin of their crimes. And what's crazy is I popped it up so I could read it, but then I just got to reading. I sure did. It's right there. I didn't. Woe to you, sinners, when you shall be afflicted on account of the righteous in the day of the great trouble, shall be burnt in fire, and be recompensed according to your deeds. Woe to you, perverted in heart, who are watchful to obtain an accurate knowledge of evil and to discover terrors. No one shall assist you. Woe to you, sinners, with the words of your mouths and with the works of your hands have you acted impiously in the flame of a in the flame of a blazing fire shall you be burnt. And now know that the angels shall inquire into your conduct in heaven of the sun, the moon, and the stars, respecting your sins. For upon earth you exercise jurisdiction over the righteous. Every cloud shall bear witness against you, the snow, the dew, and the rain, for all of them shall be withheld from you, that they may not descend upon you, nor become subservient to your crimes. Now then, bring gifts of salutation to the rain, that not being withheld, it may descend upon you, and to the dew, if it had been received from you, gold and silver. But when the frost, snow, cold, every snowy wind, and every suffering belonging to them fall upon you, in those days you will be utterly incapable of standing before them. Enoch 101. Attentively consider heaven, all you progeny of heaven, and all the works of El Elyon. Fear him, nor conduct yourselves criminally before him. If he shut up the windows of heaven, restraining the rain and dew, that it may not descend upon the earth on your account, what will you do? And if he send his wrath upon you and upon all your deeds, you are not they who can supplicate him, you who utter against his righteousness language proud and powerful. To you there shall be no peace. Do you not see the commanders of ships, how their vessels are tossed about by the waves, torn to pieces by the winds, and exposed to the greatest peril? That they therefore fear, because their whole property is embarked with them on the ocean, and that they forbade evil in their hearts, because it may swallow them up, and they may perish in it. Is not the whole sea, like all its waters and all its commotion, the work of him, El Elyon, of him who has sealed up all its exertions and girded it on every side with sand? At his rebuke, dried up and alarmed, while all its fish with everything in it die? And will you not, sinners who are on earth, fear him? Is not he the maker of heaven and earth, and of all things which are in them? And who has given erudition, erudition and wisdom to all that move on the earth and over the sea? Are not the commanders of ships terrified at the ocean, and shall not sinners be terrified at El Elyon? All right, y'all, last chapter Enoch for today. Enoch chapter 102. In those days, when he shall cast the calamity of fire upon you, whither will you fly, and where will you be safe? And when he sends forth his word against you, are you not spared and terrified? All the luminaries are agitated with great fear, and all the earth is spared, while it trembles and suffers anxiety. All the angels fulfill the commands received by them, and are desirous of being concealed from the presence of the great glory, while the children of the earth are alarmed and troubled. But you, sinners, are forever cursed. To you there shall be no peace. Fear not, souls of the righteous, but wait with patient hope for the day of your death in righteousness. Grieve not, because your souls descend in great trouble, with groaning, lamentation, and sorrow, to the receptacle of the dead. In your lifetime, your bodies have not received a recompense in proportion to your goodness. But in the period of your existence have sinners existed, in the period of execration and punishment. But when you die, sinners say concerning you, as we die, the righteous die. What profit have they in their works? Behold, like us, they expire in sorrow and in darkness. What advantage have they over us? Henceforth are we equal. What will be within their grasp, and what before their eyes forever? For behold, they are dead, and they will never again perceive the light. I say unto you, sinners, You have been satisfied with meat and drink, with the plunder of men and rapine, with sin, and with the accusation of wealth, and with good sight, and with the sight of good days. Have you not marked the righteous, how their end is in peace? For no oppression is found in them, even to the day of their death. They perish and are as if they were not, while their souls descend in trouble to the receptacle of the dead. That, my people, is where we're going to stop at. And we will read the last 3 chapters of Enoch tomorrow, which is 103 to 105. And then we hop on back over here to the book of Exodus. Let me leave this out. Leave both of these out. Okay. All right, y'all. So let's hop on over here. Oh, are they still here? Okay, I thought my screen had froze. Like, wait a minute. Okay. Shema, hear therefore, O Israel, and observe to do it, that it may be well with you, and that ye may increase mightily, as Yahuwah, the God of our fathers, has promised us, in the land that flows with milk and honey. Hear, O Israel, Yahuwah, our God, he is one God. And you shall love Yahuwah your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I command thee this day shall be in your heart. And you shall teach them diligently unto your children. And you shall talk of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. And you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. And you shall write them upon the posts of your house and on your gates. And Yahuwah commanded us to do all these statutes, to fear Yahuwah our God for our good always, that he might preserve us alive as it is this day. And it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do all these commandments before Yahuwah our God, as he has commanded us. All right, beautiful people. Let's see. Uh-oh. Am I still on? Oh my gosh. What happened? Oh, okay. I thought it completely closed out YouTube. All right. I gotta be careful. I'm gonna have to do something bad about this. Okay, y'all. So let me see. I'm just checking to see, because if I start reading this, I wonder if we'll be done with it by tomorrow. And I didn't double check it. Let me just check something real quick. We're gonna have to read that. Okay, I'm gonna skip a couple things so we can read that. We'll read that tomorrow. Okay, so let's go to page 97 if you have the same size book as I do, and it's gonna start in it says chapter 6, Jacob, the birth of Esau and Jacob. So we're gonna read this section, the couple pages up until after the little portion about Nimrod. Okay. And then tomorrow, as we finish this up, we'll skip to this next little section, and then we'll start at Exodus, and then we got to move further back in the book to help those stories line up. All right. So chapter 6, Jacob, the birth of Esau and Jacob. And if you're on the same page as volume 1, and it's page 97. Okay. Isaac, who was the counterpart of his father in body and soul, he resembled him in every particular, in beauty, wisdom, strength, wealth, and noble deeds. It was therefore as great an honor for Isaac to be called the son of his father as for Abraham to be called the father of his son. And though Abraham was the progenitor of 30 nations, he is always designated as the father of Isaac. Despite his many excellent qualities, Isaac married late in life. Yahuwah permitted him to meet the wife suitable to him only after he had successfully disproved the mocking charges of Ishmael, who was in the habit of taunting him with having been circumcised at the early age of 8 days, while Ishmael had submitted himself voluntarily to the operation when he was 13 years old. For this reason, Yahuwah demanded Isaac as a sacrifice when he had attained to full manhood, and at the age of 37, Isaac was ready to give up his life. Ishmael's jibes were thus robbed of their sting, and Isaac was permitted to marry. But another delay occurred before his marriage could take place. Directly after the sacrifice on Mount Moriah, his mother died, and he mourned for her 3 years. Finally, he married Rebekah, who was then a maiden of 14. Okay, that's one of them things I put in my what the crap box. Okay. Okay. I'm going to just keep reading. Rebecca was a rose between thorns. Her father was a Aramean Bethuel, and her brother was Laban. But she did not walk in their ways. Her piety was equal to Isaac's. Nevertheless, their marriage was not entirely happy, for they lived together no less than 20 years without begetting children. Rebekah besought her husband to entreat Yahuwah for the gifts of children, as his father Abraham had done. At first, Isaac would not do her bidding. Yahuwah had promised Abraham a numerous progeny, and he thought their childlessness was probably Rebekah's fault, and it was her duty to supplicate Yahuwah and not his. But Rebekah would not desist, and husband and wife repaired to Mount Moriah together to pray to Yahuwah there. And Isaac said, O Lord God of heaven and earth, whose goodness and mercies fill the earth, thou who did take my father from his father's house and from his birthplace, and did bring him unto this land, and did say unto them, to thee and thy seed I will give thee the land, and did promise him and declare unto him, I will multiply thy seed as the stars of heaven, and as the sand of the sea. Now may thy words be verified, which thou didst speak unto my father. For thou art Lord our God. Our eyes are toward thee to give us seed of men as thou did promise us. For thou art Yahuwah, our God, and our eyes are upon thee. Isaac prayed furthermore that all children destined for him might be born unto him from this pious wife of his. And Rebekah made the same petition regarding her husband Isaac and the children destined for her. Their united prayer was heard, yet it was chiefly for the sake of Isaac that Yahuwah gave them children. It is true, Rebekah's piety equaled her husband's, but the prayer of a pious man who is the son of a pious man is far more efficacious than the prayer of one, though pious himself, is descended from a godless father. I guess that makes sense, right? Yeah, because you got multiple generations of righteousness. So in this case, there was 2 generations of righteousness following Isaac, being Abraham and himself, and his father being known as the friend of Yah, duh, versus 1 generation of righteousness, and you have a godless father. So I can see how the balance weighs heavier on the side of Isaac and Abraham. Okay, I get that point. The prayer wrought a great miracle, for Isaac's physique was such that he could not have been expected to beget children, and equally, it was not the course of nature that Rebekah should bear children. When Rebekah had been pregnant 7 months, she began to wish that the curse of childlessness had not been removed from her. She suffered torturous pain because her twin sons began their lifelong quarrels in her womb. They strove to kill each other. If Rebecca walked in the vicinity of a temple erected to idols, Esau moved in her body. And if she passed a synagogue or a Bet Ha Midrash, Jacob essayed to break forth from her womb. The quarrels of the children turned upon such differences as these. Esau would insist that there was no life except the earthly life of material pleasures. And Jacob would reply, "My brother, there are two worlds before us, this world and the world to come. In this world, men eat and drink and traffic and marry and bring up sons and daughters, but all this does not take place in the world to come. If it please thee, do thou take this world, and I will take the other." Esau had Samuel, I'm sorry, Esau had Samael as his ally, who desired to slay Jacob in his mother's womb. But the archangel Michael hastened to Jacob's aid. He tried to burn Samael, and Yahuwah saw it necessary to constitute a heavenly court for the purpose of arbitrating the case of Michael and Samael. Even the quarrel between the two brothers regarding the birthright had its beginning before they emerged from the womb of their mother. Each desired to be the first to come into the world. It was only when Esau threatened to carry his point at the expense of his mother's life that Jacob gave way. Betwabu, Shayla. Rebecca asked other women whether they too had suffered such pain during their pregnancy, and when they had told her they had not heard of a case like hers except the pregnancy of Nimrod's mother, she betook herself to Mount Moriah, whereon Shem and Eber had their Bet Ha Midrash. She requested them as well as Abraham to inquire of Yahuwah what the cause of her dire suffering was. And Shem replied, "My daughter, I confide a secret to thee. See to it that none finds out. Two nations are in thy womb, and how should they, I'm sorry, and how should thy body contain them, seeing that the whole world will not be large enough for them to exist in it together peaceably? Two nations they are, each owning a world of its own. Each owning a world of its own. The one, the Torah, the other, sin. From the one will spring Solomon, the builder of the temple. From the other, Vespian, the destroyer thereof. These two are These two are what are needed to raise the number of nations to 70. They will never be in the same estate. Esau will vaunt lords, while Jacob will bring forth prophets. And if Esau has princes, Jacob will have kings. They, Israel and Rome, are the two nations destined to be halted by all the world. One will exceed the other in strength. First, Esau will subjugate the whole world, but in the end, Jacob will rule over all. The older of the two will serve the younger, provided this one is pure of heart. Otherwise, the younger will be enslaved by the older. The circumstances connected with the birth of her twin sons were as remarkable as those during the period of Rebekah's pregnancy. Esau was the first to see the light, and with him all impurity came from the womb. Jacob was born clean and sweet of body. Esau was brought forth with hair, beard, and teeth, both front and back, and he was blood red, a sign of his future sanguinary nature. On account of his ruddy appearance, he remained uncircumcised. Isaac, his father, feared that due to poor circulation of the blood, and he hesitated to perform the circumcision. He decided to wait until Esau should attain his 13th year, the age at which Ishmael had received the sign of the covenant. But when Esau grew up, he refused to give heed to his father's wish, so he was left uncircumcised, the opposite of his brother in this, as in all respects. Jacob was born with the sign of the covenant upon his body, a rare distinction. Now we know also Somebody else was born. Who was it that was born circumcised? Was it Noah? Did we read that Noah was, I know, wait a minute. I forgot. But I know we read it. We read it while reading the Book of Enoch. Do y'all remember? Who else was born circumcised? I don't know if it was Noah. It may have been. I could be wrong. But I forget. I'm gonna have to go look it up. But there he's the second one that was born circumcised. Okay. Jacob was born with the sign of the covenant upon his body, a rare distinction. But Esau also bore a mark upon him at birth, the figure of a serpent, the symbol of all that is wicked and hated of Yah. The names conferred upon the brothers are pregnant with meaning. The older was called Esau because he was a Sui, fully developed when he was born. What? I mean, it did say he was born with all his teeth and a beard. I don't know if that's a figure of speech or if literally this baby was born. I know he was ruddy and red and had a lot of hair. Like hair, I just figured, okay, he was born. Okay, I can see that. But born with teeth and a beard, maybe that was just a figure of speech or something, just trying to amplify. Like this baby looked like he'd have been here before. He'd have been through some stuff, but I don't know that. I'll put it in my what the crap box right over here. Just we're gonna set it right here for a second. We're gonna keep reading. Okay. The older was called Esau because he was a Sui, fully developed when he was born, and the name of the younger was given to him by Yah to point to some important events in the future of Israel by the numerical value of each letter. The first letter in Yaakov, Yod, which is why Jacob is actually Yakuba, but they say Yaakov, but it's pronounced Yakuba, which starts with the Y or the Yod, Y-O-D, with a value of 10, stands for the Decalogue. The second An equal to 70 for the 70 elders, the leaders of Israel. The third Kof, which is KOF, 100 for the temple, 100 ells in height, and the last Bet for the 2 tablets of stone. While Esau and Jacob were little, their characters could not be judged properly. They were like the myrtle and the thorn bush, which look alike in the early stages of their growth. After they have attained full size, the myrtle is known by its fragrance and the thorn bush by its thorns. In their childhood, both brothers went to school, but when they reached their 13th year and were of age, their ways parted. Jacob continued his studies, and okay, so I can see. Okay, so back in the day, clearly I'm going back to the age of Rebecca and some of the younger ones. So if they were considered of age at 13 years, I mean, you gotta think about it, right? If we look at the current generations, shalom, shalom, mother. If we look at the current generations and how they're being born now, I mean, I guess, okay, so if we look at movies based on how the times have changed, it seemed like earlier generations were, for lack of, for lack of better words, not that we are vagabonds, but they looked more, okay, let me make sure I'm saying this right. Okay, so if you watch movies, they carried themselves more sophisticated. Not that we don't now, but it seemed like the younger children, they were like taught more, and it seemed like they matured faster, so to speak. Like the earlier, if you look at the movie, based on, let's just say, based on what we see in the movies, that's what I'm using in my example, right? So it was like they were given, they had much more responsibility, because think about it, we have a lot more conveniences now, and a lot of the generations are crippled. Some are crippled by technology, but some are really empowered by technology. But it seems like they were they had it's like the younger children have more responsibility. Say like if you're working on a farm, you grew up working on a farm, you know like the task of hard work and get out there, and you out there 5-year-olds uh forking bales of hay or whatever. Y'all get what I'm trying to say, right? But I'm thinking about the age where it says Rebecca was 14 years old, because right here they said at 13 they were considered of age. So that's the whole reason why I just brought that point back up. So it's possible that they could, I guess, mentally or whatever. I don't know. But right now, it's like they're of age when they turn, according to like the current laws of the land, like they're 18, but not really of age for real. I mean, they become legal, but only in regards to like driving and like voting and some other things, and making decisions on their own without their parents' approval or whatever. You see what I'm saying? So apparently, earlier times it was age 13. Okay. In their childhood, both brothers went to school, but when they reached their 13th year and were of age, their ways parted. Jacob continued his studies in the Bet Ha Midrash of Shem and Eber, and Esau abandoned himself to idolatry and an immoral life. Both were hunters of men. Esau tried to capture them in order to turn them away from Yahuwah, and Jacob to turn them toward Yahuwah. In spite of his impious deeds, Esau possessed the art of winning his father's love. His hypocritical conduct made Isaac believe that his firstborn son was extremely pious. Father, he would ask Isaac, what is the tithe on straw and salt? The question made him appear God-fearing in the eyes of his father, because these two products are the very ones that are exempt from tithing. Isaac failed to notice, too, that his older son gave him forbidden food to eat. What he took for flesh of the young goats was dog's meat. Oh, how could you do that? Rebecca was more clear-sighted. She knew her sons as they really were, and therefore her love for Jacob was exceeding great. Hold on. Let me go back and read something with it. Hold on. Wait. I just thought about something. Hold on. Who did? Okay. Okay, before I elaborate on that, I'm gonna have to go back and read something else. Okay, it made me think about something. Rebecca was more clear-sighted. She knew her sons as they really were, and therefore her love for Jacob was exceeding great. The oftener she heard his voice, the deeper grew her affection for him. Abraham agreed with her. He also loved his grandson Jacob, for he knew that in him his name and his seed would be called. And he said unto Rebekah, my daughter, watch over my son Jacob, for he shall be in my stead on earth and for a blessing in the midst of children of men, for the glory of the whole seed of Shem. Having admonished Rebekah thus to keep guard over Jacob, who was destined to be the bearer of the blessing given to Abraham by Yahuwah, he called for his grandson, and in the presence of Rebekah, he blessed him and said, Jacob, my beloved son, whom my soul loveth. May Yahuwah bless thee from above the firmament, and may he give thee all the blessing wherewith he blessed Adam and Enoch and Noah and Shem, and all the things which he told me, and all the things which he promised to give me. May he cause to cleave to thee and to thy seed forever, according to the days of the heavens and above the earth. May the spirit of Mastema not rule over thee or over thy seed, to turn thee from Yahuwah, who is thy God from henceforth and forever. That's why she made sure the youngest received the blessing. You're right, Trina. I was going on that, and I was thinking about something. That's why I said I'm not going to elaborate on that until I read something else. But yes, I believe that's absolutely right. And I started thinking this was probably why, because Isaac, I said that makes sense, but yeah, I didn't want to. But I'm glad you said that. That's why I was going with that. And I was thinking about that dog meat Esau was given to his father. I'm like, wow, why would you do that? That's like, y'all supposed to eat clean meat. Why would you trick your father in that regards to give him something unclean to eat? Okay. And may Yahuwah, the God, be a father to thee, and may thou be his firstborn son, and may he be a father to thy people always. Go in peace, my son. And Abraham good reason to be particularly fond of Jacob, for it was due to the merits of his grandson that he had been rescued from the fiery furnace. Isaac and Rebekah, knowing of Abraham's love for their young son, sent their father a meal by Jacob on the last feast of Pentecost, which Abraham was permitted to celebrate on earth, that he might eat and bless the Creator of all things before he died. Abraham knew that his end was approaching, and he thanked Yahuwah for all the good he had granted him during the days of his life, and blessed Jacob and bade him walk in the ways of Yahuwah, and especially he was not to marry a daughter of the Canaanites. Then Abraham prepared for death. He placed two of Jacob's fingers upon his eyes, and thus holding them close, he fell into his eternal sleep, while Jacob lay beside him on the bed. The lad did not know of his grandfather's death until he called him on awakening the next morning, Father, Father, and received no answer. Okay, y'all, we're gonna about to read this last little section. Oh no, we're gonna read this, and I said we was gonna read. Okay, let me just get to reading. Okay. Though Abraham reached a good old age beyond the limit of years vouchsafed later generations, he yet died 5 years before his allotted time. The intention was to let him live to be 180 years old, the same age as Isaac at his death, but on the account of Esau, Yahuwah brought his life to an abrupt close. For some time, Esau had been pursuing his evil inclinations in secret. Finally, he dropped his mask, and on the day of Abraham's death, he was guilty of 5 crimes. He ravished a betrothed maiden. He committed murder, doubted the resurrection of the dead, scorned the birthright, and denied Yahuwah. Then Yahuwah said, I promised Abraham that he should go to his fathers in peace. Can I now permit him to be a witness of his grandson's rebellion against Yahuwah, his violation of the laws of chastity, and his shedding of blood? It is better for him to die now in peace. The men slain by Esau on this day were Nimrod and 2 of his adjutants. Remember we was talking about how this is leading up to the birthright. Remember how we said he came running, he sold his birthright because he just knew he was about to die. He was in distress. He's like, look, what good is my birthright doing me right now? Because I'm about to die. I'm famished and I'm about to die. Okay, so listen. The men slain by Esau on this day were Nimrod and 2 of his adjutants. A long-standing feud had existed between Esau and Nimrod because the mighty hunter before Yahuwah was jealous of Esau, who also devoted himself assiduously to the chase. Once when he was hunting, it happened that Nimrod was separated from his people. Only 2 men were with him. Esau, who lay in ambush, noticed his isolation and waited until he could pass his covert. Then he threw himself upon Nimrod suddenly and felled him and his 2 companions, who hastened to his succor. The outcries of the latter brought the attendants of Nimrod to the spot where he lay dead, but not before Esau had stripped him of his garments and fled to the city with them. These garments of Nimrod had an extraordinary effect upon cattle, beasts, and birds. Of their own accord, they would come and prostrate themselves before him who was arrayed in them. Thus, Nimrod and Esau after him were able to rule over men and beasts. So apparently, Yahuwah had to let this happen. Like Nimrod, although he killed Nimrod, Yahuwah clearly allowed it. But I often wonder, I'm like, okay, well, it tells us how he snuck up on him and everything. But it definitely had to be his time to go, because remember, nobody could defeat Nimrod because he wore the garments of Adam that had been passed down, So who allowed it to happen for all the following reasons that came after. Top of day, Joshua. After slaying Nimrod, Esau hastened cityward in great fear of his victim's followers. Tired and exhausted, he arrived at home to find Jacob busy preparing a dish of lentils. Numerous male and female slaves were in Isaac's household. Nevertheless, Jacob was so simple and modest in his demeanor that if he came home late from the Bet HaMidrash, he would disturb none to prepare his meal, but would do it himself. On this occasion, he was cooking lentils for his father to serve him as his mourner's meal after the death of Abraham. Adam and Eve had eaten lentils after the murder of Abel, and so had the parents of Haran when he perished in the fiery furnace. The reason they are used for the mourner's meal is that the round lentils symbolize death, as the lentil rolls. Okay. As the lentil rolls, so death, sorrow, and mourning constantly roll about among men from one to the other. Okay, I get that. Esau accosted Jacob thus, why art thou preparing lentils? Jacob, because our grandfather passed away, they shall be a sign of my grief and mourning, that he may love me in the days to come. Esau, thou fool, dost thou really think it is possible that a man should come to life again after he has been dead and has moldered in the grave? He continued to taunt Jacob. Why dost thou give thyself so much trouble? He said. Lift up thine eyes, and thou wilt see that all men eat whatever comes to hand: fish, creeping and crawling creatures, swine's flesh, and all sorts of things like these. And thou vexest thyself about a dish of lentils? Jacob, if we acted like other men, what shall we do on the day of Yah, the day on which the pious will receive their reward, when a herald will proclaim, where is he that weighed the deeds of men? Where is he that counteth? Esau, is there a future world, or will the dead be called back to life? If it were so, why hath not Adam returned? Hast thou heard that Noah, through whom the world was raised anew, hath reappeared? Yea, Abraham, the friend of God, more beloved than him than any man, hath he come to life again? Jacob, if thou art of opinion that there is no future world, and that the dead do not rise anew, then why dost thou want thy birthright? Sell it to me now, while it is yet possible to do so. Once the Torah is revealed, it cannot be done. Verily, there is a future world in which the righteous receive their reward. I tell thee this, lest thou say later, I deceived thee. Jacob was a little concerned about the double share of the inheritance that went with the birthright. What he thought of was the priestly service, which was the prerogative of the firstborn in ancient times, and Jacob was loath to have his impious brother Esau play the priest, he who despised all divine service. The scorn manifested by Esau for the resurrection of the dead. A minute. Okay, the scorn manifested by Esau for the resurrection of the dead he felt, also for the promise of Yahuwah to give the Holy Land to the seed of Abraham. He did not believe in it, and therefore he was willing to cede his birthright and the blessing attached thereto in exchange for a mess of pottage. In addition, Jacob paid him in coin, and besides, he gave him what was more than money, the wonderful sword of Methuselah, which Isaac had inherited from Abraham and bestowed upon Jacob. Esau made game of Jacob. He invited his associates to the feast at his brother's table, saying, know ye what I did to this Jacob? I ate his lentils, drank his wine, amused myself at his expense, and sold my birthright to him. All that Jacob replied was, Eat, and may it do thee good. But Yahuwah said, Thou despisest the birthright, therefore I shall make thee despised in all generations. And by a way of punishment for denying Yahuwah and the resurrection of the dead, the descendants of Esau are cut off from the world. As not As naught was holy to Esau, Jacob made him swear concerning the birthright by the life of their father, for he knew Esau's love for Isaac, that it was strong, nor did he fail to have a document made out, duly signed by witnesses, setting forth that Esau had sold him the birthright together with his claim upon the place at the cave of Machpelah. Now we remember this whole scene. Remember when Jacob died and they went to go bury him. They all met at the cave of Machpelah. Esau met him on the way, and when they got to the cave, they was like, wait a minute, hold on now, y'all can't bury daddy in here because this belongs to us, and we don't want him buried here. And remember, it was Joseph, the documents, these deeds that were passed down. Isaac, hold on. Jacob was smart. He paid him money. There was an actual exchange. He didn't steal it from him, but Esau willingly gave it over to Jacob. But Jacob made sure they wrote down documents. That, remember, there were witnesses there while they were doing this. There were witnesses there. There was an exchange of money. He sealed those documents and he kept them safe. And they found themselves in a possession of Joseph in Egypt. Because when they got there, because Joseph sent Naphtali, he said, listen, go to Egypt, get these documents and everything concerning it. We're gonna wait right here. And that pissed Esau off, because Esau said, wait a minute, we didn't sell this. He stood there, he lied and said he lied to Joseph. He said, you were not there. Remember, none of them kids was born yet. So he said, no, you weren't there, and I did not sell. He said, oh, quite contrary, we have the documents of this deed. It belonged to our father. You sold it to him in our youth. Matter of fact, Naphtali, go to Egypt, grab all them documents, grab everything that's surrounding it, and bring it back here. They did, make a long story short, they got into a fight. A lot of people died, but they did end up burying Jacob in that cave because it belonged to them. Right? Okay. Though no blame can attach to Jacob for all. Hold on a minute. Let me just read this last sentence again. As naught was holy to Esau, Jacob made him swear concerning the birthright by the life of their father, for he knew Esau's love for Isaac, that it was strong, nor did he fail to have a document made out, duly signed by witnesses, setting forth that Esau had sold him the birthright together with his claim upon the place in the cave of Machpelah. Though no blame can attach to Jacob for all of this, yet he secured the birthright from him by cunning, and therefore the descendants of Jacob had to serve the descendants of Esau. Okay. All right, y'all. Let's see. Okay. I was debating whether if I was going to read this part or just kind of skip over here. Hold on. One quick second. Okay, let's okay. We skipped a little section. Let's go to the Isaac blesses Jacob part, which is on page 102 if you're following along. But the title was Isaac blesses Jacob. Okay. Esau's marriage with the daughters of the Canaanites was an abomination, not only in the eyes of his mother, but also in the eyes of his father. He suffered even more than Rebekah through the idolatrous practices of his daughters in law. It is the nature of man to oppose less resistance than woman to disagreeable circumstances. A bone is not harmed by a collision that would shiver an earthen pot in pieces. Man, who was created out of the dust of the ground, has not the endurance of woman formed out of the bone. Oh, yeah. Remember when we was reading when Adam and Eve was created, and it was talking about how Adam was formed from the dust, but Eve coming from his rib was formed with bone, which is why men don't need like colognes and perfumes, but women need colognes because of the bones and stuff. Y'all got to go back and read that part or listen to it again. It's really good. I'm like, oh, I can see that. Plus, with their monthly menstrual cycles and stuff, and which is why they bathed the women. They went through like a bath ritual where they would soak in the different fragrances like frankincense and myrrh and stuff. Because if you constantly bathe and purify yourself like that, and also if you give your insides a bath with like fresh fruits and everything, you will realize that the smell that comes from you, like you will have a natural sweet scent, and I thought it's pretty good. So, man who is created out of the dust of the ground has not the endurance of the woman who was formed out of the bone. Isaac was made prematurely old by the conduct of his daughters in law, and he lost the sight in his eyes. Rebekah had been accustomed in the home of her childhood in the incense to the incense burnt before idols, and she could therefore bear the burden under her own roof tree. What? Rebecca had been accustomed in the home of her childhood to the incense burnt before idols, and she could therefore bear it under her own roof. Unlike her, Isaac had never had any such experience while he abode with his parents, and he was stung by the smoke arising from the sacrifices offered to their idols by his daughters in law in his own house. Isaac's eyes had suffered earlier in life too, when he lay bound upon the altar, about to be sacrificed by his fathers. The angels wept, and their tears fell upon his eyes, and there they remained and weakened his sight. At the same time, he had brought the scourge of blindness down upon himself by his love for Esau. He justified the wicked for a bribe, the bribe of Esau's life, filial love, and loss of vision is the punishment that follows the taking of bribes. Oh, snap. A gift, it is said, blinds the eyes. Oh, that brings something else into a whole different light. Oh, snap. I got to go back and look at this some more. Okay. Nevertheless, his blindness proved a benefit for Isaac as well as Jacob. In consequence of his physical ailments, Isaac had to keep at home, and so he was spared the pain of being pointed out by people as the father of the wicked Esau. And again, if his power of vision had been unimpaired, he would not have blessed Jacob. Oh, yeah, see, one thing leads to another. As it was, Yahuwah treated him as a physician treats a sick man who is forbidden to drink wine, for which, however, he has a strong desire. To placate him, the physician's orders that warm water be given him in the dark, and he be told that it is wine. When Isaac reached the age of 123 and was thus approaching the years attained by his mother, he began to meditate upon his end. It is proper that a man should prepare for death when he comes close to the age at which either of his parents passed out of life. Isaac reflected that he did not know whether the age allotted to him was his mother's or his father's, and he therefore resolved to bestow his blessing upon his older son Esau before death should overtake him. He summoned Esau and said, "My son." Esau replied, "Here I am." But the Holy Spirit interposed, though he disguised his voice and makes it sound sweet, put no confidence in him. There are 7 abominations in his heart. He will destroy 7 holy places: the tabernacle, the sanctuaries at Gilgal, Shiloh, Nob, Gibeon, and the first and the second temple. Gently, though Esau continued to speak to his father, he yet longed for his end to come. But Isaac was stricken with spiritual as well as physical blindness. The Holy Spirit deserted him, and he could not discern the wickedness of his older son. He bade him sharpen his slaughtering knives and beware of bringing him the flesh of an animal that had died of itself or had been torn by a beast. And he was to guard also against putting an animal before Isaac that had been stolen from its rightful owner. Then, continue Isaac, I will bless him who is worthy of being blessed. This charge was laid upon Esau on the eve of Passover, and Isaac said to him, Tonight the whole world will sing the Hallel unto Yah. It is the night when the storehouses of dew are unlocked. Therefore, prepare dainties for me that my soul may bless thee before I die. Hold on, I need to highlight that. I need to check into this because we're about to come up on Passover. And if this is still happening, the storehouses of dew are unlocked. You know me, I be testing stuff. Like I'm like, okay, so this happened. He said this is happening. Okay, now what did he pray? You pray something? Is something magnificent? Of is something supposed to happen? Like I'm like seriously, y'all. I be testing everything. I'm like, okay, is this true? Is this not true? What can happen? And I record and I tell y'all about it. Y'all, look, this is what happened. Okay, I'm just letting y'all know. Tonight, the whole world will sing the Hallel unto Yah. It is the night when the storehouses of dew are unlocked. To prepare, therefore, prepare dainties for me, that my soul may bless thee before I die. But the Holy Spirit interposed, eat not the bread of him that have an evil eye. Isaac's longing for tidbits was due to his blindness. As the sightless cannot behold the food they eat, they do not enjoy it with full relish, and their appetite must be tempted with particularly palatable morsels. Esau sallied forth to procure what his father desired, little reckoning the whence or how, whether by robbery or theft, to hinder the quick execution of his father's order. Yahuwah sent Satan on the chase with Esau. He was to delay him as long as possible. So we see y'all saw all this going on. He even helped out in Rebecca. Not that he helped Rebecca to deceive Jacob, but y'all get what I'm saying. Everything, one thing affects another. You know, it's all put into motion for whatever order is going in. To hinder the quick execution of his father's order, Yahuwah sent Satan on the chase with Esau. He was to delay him as long as possible. Esau would catch a deer and leave him lying bound while he pursued another game. Immediately, Satan would come and liberate the deer. And when Esau returned to the spot, his victim was not to be found. Thus was repeated several times. Again and again, the quarry was run down and bound and liberated, so that Jacob was able, meanwhile, to carry out the plan of Rebekah, wherewith he would be blessed instead of Esau. Though Rebekah had not heard the words that had passed between Isaac and Esau, they nevertheless were revealed to her through the Holy Spirit, and she resolved to restrain her husband from taking a false step. She was not actuated by the love for Jacob, but by the wish of keeping Isaac from committing a detestable act. Yeah, oh man. Rebecca said to Jacob, this night the storehouse, well, it's repeated. This night the storehouses of dew are unlocked. Hold on, y'all. This is, and I'm intrigued by this. Hold on, I need to find out what this means. And when I do, I'm gonna let y'all know. If y'all find out before I do, please let a sister know. Okay, hold on. Rebekah said to Jacob, this night the storehouses of dew are unlocked. It is the night during which the celestial beings chant the Hallel unto Yah, the night set apart for the deliverance of thy children from Egypt, on which they too will sing the Hallel. Oh, wait. Oh my gosh, I'm thinking about something. Okay, I'm thinking about in regards to like what it says the second release from Egypt and what's actually happened and why they had to do it on the night of Passover. He said, eat it in haste, make sure all the meat is gone before midnight. Whatever is not gone, burn it up, but make sure every man has his staff in his hand, his shoes on his feet, and everybody need to be packed and ready to go. Okay, there's more to this, y'all. Hold on, because we're coming up on Passover. Hold on. Okay, let me finish reading this. And I'm gonna be looking into all today. Go now and prepare savory meat for thy father, that he may bless thee before his death. Do as I bid thee, obey me as thou art wont, for thou art my son, whose children every one will be good and God-fearing, and not one shall be graceless. In spite of his great respect for his mother, Jacob refused at first to heed her command. He feared that he might commit a sin, especially as he might thus bring his father's curse down upon him. As it was, Isaac might still have a blessing for him after giving Esau his. But Rebekah allayed his anxieties with the words, when Adam was cursed, the malediction fell upon his mother, the earth, and so shall I, the mother, bear the imprecation if thy father curses thee. Moreover, if the worst comes to the worst, I am prepared to step before thy father and tell him, Esau is a villain and Jacob is a righteous man. Thus constrained by his mother, Jacob, in tears and with a body bowed, went off to execute the plan made by Rebekah. He was to provide a Passover meal. She bade him get 2 kids, one for the Passover sacrifice and one for the festival sacrifice. To soothe Jacob's conscience, she added that her marriage contract entitled her to 2 kids daily, and she continued, These 2 kids will bring good unto thee the blessing of thy father, and they will bring good unto thy children, for the 2 kids will be the atoning sacrifice offered on the day of atonement. What's wrong, baby girl? I cannot play Play-Doh. You can't. Hold on, Pootie. Hold on. Pause. Hop down for a second. No. Girl, listen, hop down. You want to see you back upstairs? What is she talking about? Play-Doh. This Play-Doh that Josiah got when you went to McDonald's. Okay. Let her play with it for a second, please. While I'm almost done recording. Let her play with it, please. Jeez, we can get y'all some more Play-Doh. Bella, I just want her to be quiet for a second. Okay. For the 2 kids will be the atoning sacrifice offered on the Day of Atonement. Jacob's hesitation was not yet removed. His father, he feared, would touch him and convince him that he was not hairy, therefore not his son Esau. Accordingly, Rebekah tore the skins of the 2 kids into strips and sewed them together. For Jacob was so tall a giant that otherwise they would not have sufficed to cover his hands. I know. Josiah, what I just asked you to do? I said let her play with it for a second so she can be quiet while I'm recording. I gotta hurry up, y'all. There they go. Okay. Accordingly, Rebekah tore the skins of the 2 kids into strips and sewed them together, for Jacob was so tall a giant that otherwise they would not have sufficed to cover his hands. To make Jacob's disguise complete, Rebekah felt justified in putting Esau's wonderful garments on him. They were the... I didn't know this. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Boom. Oh, snap. Okay. To make Jacob's disguise complete, Rebekah felt justified in putting Esau's wonderful garments on him. They were the high priestly raiment in which Yahuwah clothed Adam, the firstborn of the world. Remember, these was the garments he had stolen from Nimrod. They were the high priestly raiment in which Yahuwah had clothed Adam, the firstborn of the world. For in the days before the erection of the tabernacle, all the firstborn males officiated as priests. From Adam, these garments descended to Noah, who transmitted them to Shem and bequeathed them to Abraham. Yep, and Abraham to his son Isaac, from whom they reached Esau as the 2 older of his sons. It was the opinion of Rebekah that as Jacob had bought the birthright from his brother, he had thereby come into the possession of the garments as well. Boy, I tell you, they be thinking. Sometimes I think they own some shenanigans, but I didn't realize this. Okay. There was no need for her to go and fetch them from the house of Esau. He knew his wives far too well to entrust so precious a treasure to them. They were in the safekeeping of his mother. Besides, he used them most frequently in the house of his parents. As a rule, he did not lay much stress upon decent apparel. He was willing to appear on the street clad in rags, but he considered it his duty to wait upon his father arrayed in his best. My father, Esau, was in the habit of saying, is a king in my sight, and it would be, my father, Esau, was in the habit of saying, is a king in my sight, and it would be ill become me to serve before him in anything but royal apparel. To the great respect he manifested toward his father, The descendants of Esau owe all their good fortune on earth. Thus doth Yahuwah reward a good deed. Rebekah led Jacob equipped and arrayed in this way to the door of Isaac's chamber. There she departed from him with the words, Henceforth may thy creator assist thee. Jacob entered, addressing Isaac with father, and receiving the response, Here I am. Where art thou, my son? He replied equivocally, It is I, thy firstborn son Esau. He sought to avoid a falsehood and yet not betray that he was Jacob. Isaac then said, Thou art greatly in haste to secure thy blessing. Thy father Abraham was 75 years old when he was blessed, and thou art but 63. Jacob replied awkwardly, Because the Lord thy God has sent me good speed. Isaac concluded at once that this was not Esau, for he would not have mentioned the name of Yah, and he made up his mind to feel the son before him and make sure who he was. Terror seized upon Jacob at the words of Isaac. Come near, I pray thee, that I may feel thee, my son. A cold sweat covered his body, and his heart melted like wax. Then Yahuwah caused the archangels Michael and Gabriel to descend. The one seized his right hand and the other the left, while Yahuwah himself supported him, that his courage might not fail him. Isaac felt him, and finding his hands hairy, he said, The voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau. Words in which he conveyed the prophecy that so long as the voice of Jacob is heard in the house of prayer and learning, the hands of Esau will not. Ooh, that's so good. Hold on. Let me read that again. The voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau. Words in which he conveyed the prophecy that so long as the voice of Jacob is heard in the houses of prayer and learning, the hands of Esau will not be able to prevail against him. Oh boy, that'll preach. Yes, he continued, it is the voice of Jacob, the voice that imposes silence upon the earth and in heaven. For even the angels may not raise their voices to praise Yah until Israel has finished his prayers. Oh my gosh, y'all, hold on. That we learned about this, right? Isaac's scruples about blessing the son before him were not yet removed, for with his prophetical eye, he foresaw that this one would have descendants who would vex Yahuwah. At the same time, it was revealed to him that even the sinners in Israel would turn penitents, and then he was ready to bless Jacob. He bade him come near and kiss him to indicate that it would be Jacob who would imprint the last kiss upon Isaac before he was consigned to the grave, he and none other. When Jacob stood close to him, he discerned the fragrance of paradise clinging to him, and he exclaimed, See, the smell of my son is as the smell of the field which Yahuwah hath blessed. The fragrance emanating from Jacob was not the only thing about him derived from paradise. The archangel Michael had fetched thence the wine which Jacob gave his father to drink, that an exalted mood might descend upon him. For only when a man is joyously excited, the Shekinah rests upon him. The Holy Spirit filled Isaac, and he gave Jacob his tenfold blessing. Yahuwah give thee the dew of heaven, the celestial dew wherewith Yahuwah will awaken the pious to new life in the days to come, and the fatness of the earth, the goods of this world, and plenty of corn and wine, the Torah and the commandments which bestow the same joy upon man as abundant harvest. Peoples shall serve thee, the Japhethites and the Hamites. Nations shall bow to thee, the Shemite nations. Thou wilt be Lord over thy brethren, the Ishmaelites, the descendants of Keturah. Thy mother's sons will bow down to thee. Esau and his princes. Cursed be everyone that curses thee, like Balaam, and blessed be everyone that blesses thee, like Moses. For each blessing invoked upon Jacob by his father, a similar blessing was bestowed upon him by Yahuwah himself in the same words. Woo! As Isaac blessed him with dew, so also Yahuwah. And the remnant of Jacob shall be in the midst of many peoples. Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute. Oh, hold on. I'm gonna say that. Let me finish reading this. Hold on. As Isaac blessed him with the dew, so also Yahuwah, and the remnant of Jacob shall be in the midst of many peoples as dew from Yahuwah. Isaac blessed him with the fatness of the earth, so also Yahuwah, and he gave him the rain of thy seed, that thou shalt sow the ground withal, and bread of the increase of the ground, and it shall be fat and plenteous. Isaac blessed him with plenty of corn and wine. So also Yahuwah, I will send you corn and wine. Isaac said, peoples shall serve thee. So also Yahuwah. Kings shall be thy nursing fathers, and their queens thy nursing mothers. They shall bow down to thee with their faces to the earth and lick the dust of thy feet. Isaac said, nations shall bow down to thee. So also Yahuwah, and he will make thee high above all the nations which he hath made in praise and in name and in honor. To this double blessing his mother Rebekah joined hers, for he shall give his angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways. They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy feet against a stone. Thou shalt tread upon the lion and the adder, and the young lion and the serpent thou shalt trample under feet, because he has set his love upon me. Therefore I will deliver him. I will set him on high, because he has known my name. And if any of y'all are familiar with Psalms 91, y'all know that is where it originates from the mouth of Rebecca. I grew up, me and Leisha, we grew up, my family, repeating that psalm just about every night before we close our eyes to go to sleep. I know that psalm anyway. That is Psalms 91. The Holy Spirit added in return, he shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation. Oh my gosh, they just gave another to Psalm 91 for me. Jacob left the presence of his father, crowned like a bridegroom, adorned like a bride, and bathed in celestial dew, which fills his bones with marrow and transformed him into a hero and a giant. Of a miracle done for him at that very moment, Jacob himself was not aware. He had tarried with his father in an instant longer. If he had tarried with his father an instant longer, Esau would have met him there and would have surely slain him. It happened that exactly as Jacob was on the point of leaving the tent of his father, carrying in his hands the plates off which Isaac had eaten, he noticed Esau approaching. He concealed himself behind the door. Fortunately, it was a revolving door, so that though he could see Esau, he could not be seen by him. All right, y'all. So that right here is where we're going to end today. We will pick the rest of this back up tomorrow and finish this. But let me go back to something that was blowing my mind right back over here. Listen, where it says, as Isaac blessed him with the dew, so also Yahuwah, and the remnant of Jacob shall be in the midst of many peoples as dew from Yahuwah. That's us, the scattered, y'all. We are scattered among the nations. And I'm not sure if y'all remember me saying this, but I know me and my sister talk, we talk about it all the time. I said, listen, I said, us being scattered to the world, the true chosen holy people, the ones who carry the light, even though some of us may not be fully awake and realizing that we are the light of the world has, and I change it sometimes, but I'm saying the same thing. I said we are literally, just like it says, Abraham's seed, we are a blessing to all the nations. With us being scattered all over the world, within the midst of everybody, it's like we're in the midst of our captors, but our captors don't even know that their salvation is lying within their own borders everywhere. And daily they reject their salvation when they reject Yahuwah's people. Like us being scattered is like a twofold thing. It's a judgment for us, and it's also a blessing to the world. You get that? We are as the dew upon all the nations. Yahuwah's people being scattered, like I said, it's a punishment for us, but it's also a blessing to the world that through all this time, while we are being disciplined by being scattered and kicked out of our homeland, we're being punished, but we're also being kept as we return back to Yahuwah's law, statutes, and commands. And as we learn it, we're putting it into practice, and we're teaching our households and all those who would seek to know Yah, who Yah sends across our path. We're acting as Abraham did, and we're teaching them about the true creator, the true and the one and only living God, the most high, who resides, who's created the heaven and the earth, who is creator of us all. Don't matter what nation, Yahuwah, the most high, he is the creator of us all, right? So we are a blessing while we're scattered, but there's going to come a day where the scattering or the scattered will be removed, and what's going to be left is dross and judgment, because he's going to glean the best of everything, because he said he's going to draw all his people, and one by one he's waking us up all over the earth, all where we've been scattered to different nations. You will find Yahuwah's people scattered throughout the different religions. Some of them are scattered and they have been growing up practicing the Muslim faith. Some of them are worshiping Buddha. Some of them are worshiping JC, and all these things. But as he's waking us up, salvation is returning to the Jews or to Yahuwah's people, and we're realizing it, that we are also to take the good news that Yahuwah is salvation, Yahuwah himself is salvation, so that all the other nations may have a chance to repent and return to him, So it's like this right here, that just blew my mind. And the remnant of Jacob shall be in the midst of many peoples as the dew from Yahuwah. That is us being scattered. We're going to take all this goodness, although we got kicked out for foolishness, for doing everything he told us not to do. He said, we're going to take you, we're going to scatter you now to all the world, where all the blessing and everything was residing there in Yahuwah's land. But he was still blessing some of the nations, those who Yahuwah knew were good and was practicing righteousness, although they were among many heathen nations, because we know there were different kings. Just like Abimelech, he told Abraham, he said, you could have caused me to sin. Although Abimelech was a heathen, he was I know this is like he was a righteous heathen, and Yahuwah said, I know that's why I kept you from sinning. This woman belongs to this man, return her, right? Y'all get what I'm saying? So this just, when we fill in some of the missing pieces that we don't get in a canonized book of the Bible, it enriches us more. And a lot of doubts are pushed away, because sometimes we have those moments. Is this really real? And you got people that's completely that has like the same mindset as Esau. There is no resurrection. There ain't even a God. You are God. Like all this stuff. And sometimes you start considering some of these things like, well, yeah, this is happening. This is happening. This. But then you really have to make a choice. Do you really believe that? But you have to really think about all the details. Did you give your own self life? There are things about this earth that we have no control over, which therefore should tell us and verify that there is somebody higher than we ourselves, right? So as we sit and think in our right mind and just consider things, just consider nature. Who has created this? The sun is not out always, so there must be somebody that created the sun, because the sun is not God. It's here during the day, and at the night we got a moon that come out. There was somebody that had to create them. Y'all get what I'm saying, right? So that just blew my mind on a whole nother level. And let's not even talk about Psalm 91, because I grew up saying that psalm like every night. I know it by heart, and I did not realize that it originated with Rebecca. We just see it in the psalm. It's like one of King David's psalms, but it originated from the lips of Rebecca during the time Jacob was being blessed. Oh my gosh, y'all, this is so good. But that is our reading for today, y'all. I gotta go back and I gotta reread this again. I gotta check into a couple of things, and we're coming up on Passover. Like I said, this night the storehouses of dew are unlocked. It is the night which the celestial beings chant the Hallel unto Yahuwah, the night set apart for the deliverance of the children of Egypt. I wonder how many of our people know that. Probably not a lot, and that they don't realize how important it is to keep Yahuwah's commands, because from creation, all these dates when all these things are going to happen, they are there and they are set in stone. But if we don't know, we miss the boat, right? Unless we're within the vicinity of somebody who knows and like, let's go, it's time to go, my G, it's this, that, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, this is just really blowing my mind. I get super excited about this. You know, something gonna happen. I don't know when it's gonna happen, but I know if we get back into the habit of celebrating this, it's crazy. Because I talked to my uncle yesterday, and he was talking about we just kind of talked about Yahuwah gathering his people again. He said, Pam, listen, he said the Father's going to be no different. He said he never lets anything come upon his people without them being aware of it. He said just like me and my wife, you know, if I know my Aunt Valerie watches this sometime. It was my Uncle Anthony. He said, if me and Val, if we went away on a vacation or whatever, and we left the children at home, on our way back, we would offer the common courtesy. Not that we had to, but we would. Hey, y'all, we on our way back. The trip was good. We're en route now. We should be there in the next couple hours. And I'm like, I was like, you're right. I said, so when y'all come, like, we know he's coming to gather us again. But as we get closer to the date and as he gets closer, like those who are in constant relationship and constant in communication with the Father, we're gonna know. You know, we won't be like, oh well, yeah, he in a sweet by and by. Yes, that's true. No, like mom and daddy on their way. Like I literally just talked to them, and I believe, just like my uncle said, I really believe that. I really believe that we are gonna know, like, beyond a shadow of a doubt. And I believe that when we see that, we can see it happen. At least if you're paying attention, Yahuwah's people, there's going to be, I believe, like this great, I don't know, great like joy that overtakes us. That's what I perceive, you know, because it's like they almost here. Oh my God, it's been so long. Just think about when you see somebody whom you truly love and y'all have been separated for a period of time. Just think about how those reunions are. And especially, yes. In that car. Okay, we'll go in the car in a minute. Just think about if you know family is coming, like they're on the road traveling. Hey, y'all, just okay, where y'all at now? Oh, we passing the border. Okay, everybody getting the stuff ready. Like, yeah, we got y'all a meal and stuff. Oh my gosh, we so excited. We're gonna get to see the baby. All this stuff, and everybody is like, oh, they almost here. And so everybody in the house excited. We getting stuff ready. Get that cleaned up. Girl, go put that on everybody that got a bath and stuff. You know, especially, you know, if we ain't seen you in years. We got y'all coming in. Oh, we're gonna bring y'all. Oh, we're gonna party tonight. We got the food ready. Oh my gosh. And somebody's on the phone. Oh, they 10 minutes away. Oh my gosh. So now everybody's excited. Everybody in place, people popping their phones out. Somebody out the house, they standing out the gate, somebody standing at the street. What kind of car y'all in? Oh, here they come. Everybody's excited and stuff. I believe that's how it's gonna be. Y'all, like, we're gonna know. We are going to know beyond a shadow of a doubt. It's not going to be all this, oh, yes, in a sweet by and by. Yes, we believe it. No, I believe there's going to be such an excitement that takes over us. Not take over us, but because we know and we can feel it. You know, Yah is faithful to us and he lets us know. Like, bruh, look. We can see the car there. Everybody is jumping up and down and they running to the car, snatching doors open, grabbing people out, hugging. I believe it's going to be like that. I really, really do. You know, it's been a long time coming. You know, we've been in the land of our captive, being being all kinds of treated all kinds of ways. A lot of us that died at the hands of our captors, and some of us from our own foolishness. For those of us that are waking up and we said, Father, we are returning to these commands. You said you would keep us as we keep your commands, So, but guys, I could talk about this all day long. Okay, Dana said, the words of the halal in scripture. I'm not sure if there are specific words, but I've heard it in a couple different ways, but it's just like a praising and a worshiping of Yah. But I'm gonna look that up, Dana. I'm gonna look it up, and I'll let y'all know tomorrow. I'll look up the words like the halal, and I'll see if I can verify. Y'all look it up too if you get a chance. But let me know. Text me, the group me or whatever, and we can check it out together. So hopefully I can have it by tomorrow. I mean, y'all, peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. All right, y'all. So that is it. I hope y'all enjoyed the reading for today. We read Enoch chapter 99 through 102. Remember, we're going to read the last 3 chapters tomorrow, and we'll finish up the rest of this. We read here. We started on page 97 with the birth of Esau and Jacob. We skipped a small little section just for the sake of time because I wanted to get to this part. But if you want to go back and read it, I skipped it on purpose for the sake of time, not to hide anything, but go back and read it, So I'm trying to stick with a certain time and not go over it for, considering everybody else's time that's here and y'all have other things to do. So, but if you got it, you can read it whenever you want to. All right, y'all. So, but everything we read, it'll always be in the description box and under the video and in the comment section. So if you ever forget. All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and do the blessing, which is found in Numbers chapter 6. Remember, it starts at verse 22 down to the end of the chapter, verse 27. Remember, the first 21 verses is what? It's the Nazarite vow, and man or woman can take it. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying, On this wise ye shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, May Yahuwah bless us and keep us. May Yahuwah make his face to shine upon us and be gracious unto us. May Yahuwah lift up his countenance upon us and give us his peace. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. All right, beautiful people. That's it for today. If you don't have anything else, I don't see any other questions or anything like that. But that was, Shayla, it was mind blowing, wasn't it? I'm just like, all that we read, yes. So, all right, y'all, that's it. I see y'all tomorrow morning, 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Oh, Aliyah. I'm not sure if you watched the video yesterday, but we talked about Passover in the comment with the date and stuff. I was like, yep, you was right. I was wrong. You gave the right date for the first part of the month, which was I put the 15th, but it's March. The new moon is the 14th. The day count begins on the 15th, and Passover is 14 days later, which is the 27th of March. And then remember, Feast of Unleavened Bread starts the very next day on March 28th. All right, so, but all right, y'all, that's it. I love y'all, and I'll see y'all in the morning. Bruce. Yes, baby girl.
No, look at my backpack.
Backpack.